Good afternoon. I'm Constable Tyler Bell, Public Information Officer for Peel Regional Police. Thank you for joining us here today as we deliver an investigative update into a series of shootings that occurred late last year. Between November 7th and November 20th, 2023, 5 separate shooting incidents occurred across Peel Region in the cities of Brampton, Mississauga, and Kaleden, which resulted in the homicide deaths of 3 individuals. Peel Regional Police Homicide Inspector Todd Custance, alongside Ontario Provincial Police Detective Inspector Brian McDermott, will speak in a few moments to share some information on this investigation, including images of suspects and suspect vehicles. These images will be made available alongside our media release at the conclusion of this update. At the end of the update, there will be an opportunity for questions specific to this investigation and this investigation only. Thank you. Inspector.
Thanks, Tyler. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us. Last year in November, 5 separate shootings occurred in our region, in which 3 innocent individuals lost their lives. Since that time, PRP investigators have been working collaboratively with the OPP to investigate these tragic events and senseless acts of gun violence. We know these devastating incidents weigh heavily on the victims' families who are enduring unimaginable loss. We extend our sincerest condolences to the victims and loved ones. To the families of the victims, we want to say that this investigation is our priority, and we are determined to find the answers to the questions we all have and arrest the perpetrators responsible for these crimes. Peel Regional Police is currently investigating 3 residential shootings that occurred in Brampton on November 7th, 11th, and 14th of last year. On November 7th, 2 unknown suspects discharged firearms in the area of Cottrell Boulevard and Thorndale Road in the city of Brampton. Investigators believe that they fled in a black Dodge Ram 1500 pickup truck. On November 11th, a similar incident occurred, this time at a different residence in the area of Laurenville Drive and Elburn Markel Drive in Brampton. 2 unknown suspects on foot, dressed in black hoodies, fired shots at the residents. Investigators believe that they fled in a burgundy Dodge Ram 1500. On November 14th, an unknown suspect discharged a firearm from a vehicle directed at the same residence in Laurenville Drive and Elburn Markel Drive in Brampton. The suspect fled in a late model silver Mazda 3 hatchback. Thankfully, no injuries were reported at any of these 3 shootings. On November 15th, 2023, police responded to an incident at Royal Windsor Drive and Winston Churchill Boulevard in Mississauga, where 2 unknown suspects approached a business and shot and killed an individual working there. The victim of this homicide is 29-year-old Jagraj Singh from Brampton. Investigators have determined that Mr. Singh was not the intended target, and it was simply the wrong place at the wrong time. The suspects arrived and departed in a blue Dodge Challenger. A few days later, a shooting occurred on Mayfield Road in Kaleden, which Inspector McDermott will speak about shortly. On November 16th, 2023, PRP investigators attended this address for an unrelated lawful investigative purpose and spoke with several people, including the victims of that homicide, that the OPP will share information on shortly. At that time, the Peel Regional Police and the officers did not have any reason to believe the residents of that home were in danger, as the OPP will share that the victims were not the intended targets. Project Midnight was launched alongside the OPP as a joint investigation to ensure best efforts in solving these violent crimes. This is a highly complex and multifaceted investigation, and we know that tragedies like these undermine the sense and safety of security of all members of our community. We are urging anyone with information about any of these incidents to please call the dedicated tip line at 1-833-941-5570. If you wish to remain anonymous, you can contact Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-TIPS. That's 1-800-222-8477. We know that any form of gun violence has disturbing and profound impacts on individuals, family, and our communities. We continue to prioritize and work with our community to stop these blatant acts. I'll now pass the podium over to Detective Inspector McDermott. Thank you.
Thank you, Inspector Custance. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Detective Inspector Brian McDermott from the Ontario Provincial Police Criminal Investigation Branch. Shortly before midnight on November 20th, 2023, officers from the Kaleden OPP detachment responded to a shooting on Mayfield Road. 3 individuals sustained multiple gunshot wounds. A male was discovered deceased, while 2 females were transported to hospital. Tragically, one of those females did not survive, while the second female remains in the hospital. We believe multiple suspects were involved. One of the suspects was last seen entering a black pickup truck, which was last seen westbound on Mayfield Road. This truck is suspected to have been stolen on November 14th from the area of Mississauga Valley Boulevard and Arista Way in Mississauga. Shortly after the homicides on November 20th, the same black pickup truck that was stolen from Mississauga was involved in a vehicle fire in the area of Old Baseline Road and Credit View Road in Kaleden. Images of the truck have been disclosed with today's media release. Police would also like to speak to an individual who was in the area at the time of the vehicle theft who may have valuable information. His photo is also attached for media release. Investigative information and forensic evidence have confirmed that the incidents in Peel Region and Kaleden are connected. Furthermore, it seems that the locations of the shootings were deliberately targeted. We wish to emphasize that the 3 victims in the homicide were innocent and mistakenly targeted. 2 lives were tragically cut short, and 1 individual has suffered life-altering injuries. Our thoughts go out to the families and friends of the victims. Together with the Peel Regional Police, we're fully committed to identifying the suspects responsible for these deaths and ensuring that they are held accountable for their actions. We ask that anyone who knows these individuals' identities, whereabouts, or has other information to please contact our dedicated tip line at 1-833-941-5570. You can also provide information anonymously to Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-8477. Your cooperation is vital to our efforts to bring these individuals to justice. Thank you.
Thank you, inspectors. Before we begin with questions, I want to preface that this joint investigation is independent of the Peel Police Extortion Investigative Task Force. While these shooting incidents bear some similarities to what we've seen in extortion-related crimes across the region, at this time, these incidents under investigation do not appear to be extorted-related. This remains active and ongoing, but a separate investigation. We understand the significant interest in this case from both a public and journalistic perspective, and the concern with the length of time that has passed from the first incident to today's update. It is important to understand that the manner and timing in which we relay information can have drastic impacts on the outcome of investigations as complex as these. There may be questions that you have here today that will not be able to be elaborated on fully or specifically desired in order to maintain the integrity of this investigation. 3 lives were lost and many more were impacted by what has transpired. It is our utmost priority to ensure that nothing compromises this investigation. We just ask that you be mindful of that, and thank you for your understanding. And I'll take the first question.
Can you tell us, since you mentioned it's not extortion related, how do police believe these are connected?
Okay, so the question is how we believe they're connected, so I'll pass that off to Inspector of the OPP.
Thank you. As indicated, through information that police have learned, as well as forensic evidence, that has led us to the belief that is related. The exact nature of those linkages and what's led to it is integral to the investigative integrity and could jeopardize the investigation if we were to release exactly what those links are.
The Sidhu family, the family of the family in Kaleden, feel upset that they don't seem to have a lot more information about why their family was visited shortly before their two parents were gunned down. I know you mentioned today that they were visited, but is there any more information you can give publicly about exactly why they were visited?
Thanks. Yes. As I said in my statement, we did in fact attend that address. And it was in furtherance of the investigation into Mr. Singh's death on Royal Windsor Drive. We had no information at that time that the occupants were in any danger. In a homicide investigation, like any major case, we visit dozens, if not hundreds, of addresses in support of an investigation. And this case is certainly no different.
Were the owners of that property connected somehow to Mr. Singh's murder? Is that why officers were there?
No. Thank you.
Hi, can you just elaborate or summarize exactly how many suspects you're looking for and whatever you can tell us about what you know of the links between the suspects?
There are a number of suspects. We've shown multiple suspects, at least 2 individuals in each of the residential shootings, as well as the homicide. We believe that there are also multiple suspects from the Kaleden. In terms of the linkage of all those suspects, again, that's something that's part of the ongoing investigation that we're trying to determine, and releasing any possible links could jeopardize the ongoing investigation.
Just how helpful have witnesses and video surveillance been during this investigation into this series of shootings?
As with any investigation, I mean, police can work as hard as they can, but require assistance from the public, both in us obtaining video surveillance as well as witness statements. No investigation would move forward at all if we didn't have help from the public.
And you mentioned earlier that you are seeking one individual specifically. Can you just clarify and elaborate on that?
Yeah, that individual was seen, his image was out there. He was, we believe he was in the area, when the vehicle was stolen. So we would like to speak to that individual to determine whether they have any relevant information to the theft or the greater ongoing investigation.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.